and good morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on what part of the globe you're on and what time zone you are in. I am your host, Skeptically Speaking.
And I am Sweet Pea from across the pond. How is everybody doing this evening?
And we are the Skeptically Speaking Spectocrats. I don't know. Well, listen, you'll never guess what happened to me. I was introduced to a new cult.
So,
Yes, well,
dare I ask?
to be fair, I ran across this cult. I just on a whim. I really can't explain how I came across. I was going through my podcasts, came across a podcast I
Oh,
was not subscribed to. Don't ask me the name. Actually, I'll pull it up later. It's in my list.
okay.
And the title caught my attention. It was exposing the something or other, and so I played it, and then it led me to a Hulu documentary, which we will talk about. But first, we're going to talk about the 2 by 2 cult. Have you ever heard of the 2 by 2 cult?
Not until about an hour ago, but I'm definitely going to need you to fill me in on some more details about
Yeah,
this
hour ago
secretive
doesn't count.
cult.
And I have to tell you, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is 4 by 4. It's like I don't. What is this? A slab of wood here? I don't know. But if you want more independent media in your life, please consider supporting us through Cash App, Venmo, and Patreon. Links are in the description. We would appreciate your help. If you want more independent media in your life, we would love to provide that for you. To begin, what
That's what I thought you were talking about, first of all. 2 by 2. I thought you were on about plank of wood. I was like, well, what am I researching now?
2 by 2, 4 by 4, whatever. It is the 2 by 2 movement. If I were to ask you, how old do you think this cult is?
I don't know much about them. I've done limited research in an hour, but as far as I can tell on the Irish side of things, they're about 100 years old.
They got
But
started
please
in your
let
neck
me
of the
know.
woods. Yes. Started in Ireland in the 1890s. The 2 by 2 movement was a splinter from the interdenominational holiness movement. The group followed precepts like living holy and free from sin and was founded by William Irvine of Scotland, Ireland. They their beliefs centered on complete sanctification going right back to the days of the apostles. They believed you could be free from sin if you tried hard enough. So basically it sounds like a salvation and gospel or salvation and works sort of thing. So salvation and works go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. Whereas where I'm from, it's salvation through grace, but works do signify and show the inside, blah, blah, blah. Going right back to the days of the apostles, ministers would sell all they had, own no property, and travel in pairs, hence the 2 by 2. So basically, they're
A
getting
two.
their cues from Jesus and the apostles.
Mm-hmm. I still think it sounds like a plank of wood.
Well, the people in this cult, you'd think that they were planks of wood for all they were good for. I mean, it's sad. The more I read into it, the sadder I get. But
Okay.
yeah, so continuing, they would give up all property. Just like the apostles, Irvine believed that people could only be saved by this method. So as you can start to see, basically it's our way or you're not saved at all, is basically the gist of it. So it was believed that people who went to
So,
other traditional churches and services were not actually saved because their Holy Spirit would have motivated them to do and use the same methods. See how that works? You can't be saved
mm-hmm.
unless you've done it our way, and the Holy Spirit would have told you our way is the best way.
Do you know they low key kind of reminded me of West Barrow Baptist Church?
Oh, you stole my thunder.
Our way or
Yes,
no way.
absolutely.
Sorry,
No, no,
I was
don't be
just.
so
It just. Um,
don't go
it
Canadian.
just
Don't be
comes to me
sorry.
now.
Okay, so the podcast that I discovered them is called Leaving Eden Podcast. And their latest
Okay.
episode is going to be on Dave Ramsey, the Christian finance guru who tells you all the wrong things to do with your money. I mean, seriously, people who've actually used his method have gotten hurt financially, but we'll go into that. They would purposely, now this is how they would spread. They would purposely seek out other denominational meetings or a church and set up close by, kind of like when you see a church in a strip mall. And then there's a main church nearby. So they would always, try to supersede, and they were basically, you could call them a sheep stealing ministry. The same concept. They would go to these parking lots of other churches and literally start preaching loudly to the other congregants as they're going into their own church. That they would yell at them, "You're going to hell." They definitely had Westboro Baptist vibes. I mean, remember all those photos in the early 90s, early 2000s? They would protest, uh,
Yeah, I try
funerals
to forget.
of people that are gay.
Yeah.
Or veterans. Oddly enough, that's weird. I don't know how they got to that, but anyway. They would protest at gay funerals and soldiers who died overseas. So back to the 2x2 movement, they made it a point to call out local politicians and civil servants and public figures for attending what they considered dead churches. They would take full page letters in newspapers and single them out by name that they're going to hell because they had not been saved through the 2x2 movement. So, as you can see, the 2x2 taught a message of salvation plus works. The members were expected to dress modestly and plainly abstain from all worldly entertainment and were expected to attend meetings even if they lived far away. So, think about how this would go in Wales. So, imagine these people are in Wales or Scotland or Ireland. I mean, it's not really flat land, would you say? Lots of hills.
No.
Mountains.
Mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even if they lived like in one valley and there was a service being held in another valley or wherever, they were expected to walk all that distance to show their commitment. Now, what's interesting is they taught a message of salvation plus works, and the members were expected to dress modestly. All right, even if they didn't believe in formal giving or tithing in the traditional sense, so they didn't have offerings like you would expect at churches, where you bring your money and give tithes and offerings. They had two kinds of services. They had closed meetings completely closed to the public, or gospel meetings typically in a public square or a tent revival used to recruit new members. So the closed meetings were for members only, and they were usually held in houses. And we're going to get into that, but it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you've heard of stories of Christians in Russia or China. They would do house churches and meet in secret. This is what it kind of reminds me of. Now, I don't know the details. Go ahead.
I just had another thought as well. You know where this no-name church, these 2x2s as well, where they don't actually have like a church and they go around like having meetings and stuff in like different places and tents and stuff. It kind of low-key reminds me of Greg Locke as well, doing like meetings in tents.
We actually had tent revivals at our church once in a great while. I remember them as a kid. Yeah, they would just be once a year, and we would do like a whole week of services, of like 2 or 3 nights of revival, tent revival.
Okay.
Pretty wild. Now for something so unorganized, they were actually quite organized. It's really hard to put it in words. Number one, church members met in the homes of elders. Two, ministers were all traveling itinerant preachers called workers. All right. The workers would not get married or father children, own land or a home. They were to travel from home to home. That was their mission. So, kind of like celibate priests of the Catholic Church. Workers
Mm-hmm.
report to bishops or overseers who are tasked with organizing meetings and conventions. So conventions would happen once a year where multiple house churches would gather, socialize, touch base, network, all that and they would just continue on. Now, remember when I spoke of workers who deny themselves wives, homes, children, but are sheltered and quartered in other people's homes? What do you think could go wrong with that?
Well, variable things could go wrong. The workers could get tempted by wives, sisters, aunts, and sometimes in terrible cases, I suppose, children. You know, it depends what temptation
Every
is there for
single
them.
every single thing that you brought up, it basically happened in this organization.
Mm.
The two by two, they're known by several names.
Mm-hmm.
Two by two, the way, the church with no name. Do you have a list of names that they went by?
Friends, the saints, children of God, brothers and sisters in Christ, the kingdom, family of God, the Kunatites, the fold, the truth, the no name church. I think we've basically covered everything that these people
Yeah, church with no name, because nothing says, oh, we're not doing anything
yeah.
suspicious by a name like that. And nothing screams cult
Mm.
more than a church called the way or the truth.
Yeah.
Now, there was a
Or the
former,
fold.
yeah, so like, remember when I mentioned that Hulu documentary? That was put
Mm-hmm.
out by ABC News. They've been doing a whole
Now,
investigation for the last year.
refresh my memory now. Would that document have been called Shiny Happy People?
No, that was a different one. That was the Duggar.
Okay.
That had to do with the Duggar family. Um,
Okay.
let me see if I can pull up. Let me see if I can pull up the documentary real quickly.
Okay.
But yeah, it's I just watched it. It's very short. It's not long at all. But it
Okay.
is very, I don't know, it's disturbing. I'll just say it that way.
All cults are disturbing. Let's
Well,
being fair.
that goes without saying. But yeah, this was
Except for the cult of Labubu.
except the cult of Labubu. No, they're gonna make me
Yes.
bring it up by name. Yeah, the secrets of the 2x2 church. This is called
Okay.
Impact
I
by
have not.
Impact Films. This was done again by ABC, and they do interview a few of the victims, and it's quite horrific.
I will check that out later. It sounds horrific.
Yeah,
But
like I
it
said,
sounds like something that needs to be watched.
yeah, oh yeah, I think yeah, it's like 53. It's not even an hour. I mean, it was over before
That's
I
okay.
even knew it, but I cannot recommend this enough. So look up The Secrets of the 2x2 Church. It turns out ABC has been investigating this cult for over a year, and their investigation now covers over 30 states. That is
30
how
states.
much, that this is how far it is spread. It is spread across the entire
Wow.
United States. It's in every major state. It, yeah, minus 20, I guess, including Hawaii. I don't think they've gone to Hawaii yet. Evidently, the victims go back decades, and often it's the same perpetrator. So, I mean, it's just horrific. You know how they criticize, you know how independent fundamentalists, they like to criticize the Catholic Church for, you know, moving the pedophile, moving the pedophile, moving the pedophile. Every time there's a priest that abuses a young child, what do? They send it to another church, right? And hopefully it goes away. These people did that in spades. I mean, this is how they operated. I mean, this is it literally, it is the perfect breeding ground for pedophiles because there's no formal structure, no paper trail as far as a normal church would go. And basically they operate as a pseudo or third century New Testament underground church. So what happens when a pastor, traveler, worker is accused of molestation? Yeah, they just send the perpetrator to a new home. The women drawn to this culture are usually between two extremes. You've got completely docile with low self-esteem, or you have very, very dominating or domineering, willing to enforce the rules of 2x2. But men are always at the top of the heap. Remember when I said that they have workers, and the workers are the traveling preachers that stay at people's homes? Basically, these people are treated as gods. They really are. They're almost revered as godlike because they are seen as having the message of God straight from God. So it's like having God in your house. That is how they see, and a lot of these guys were treated like celebrities. It was like, oh, so and so is coming to our house. Oh my God, this is awesome. And the entire family was expected to perform, to cater to, and literally impress the worker that they've got brought into their home. And some of these workers slash preachers were very charismatic, very, they knew how, they were charming, disarming, and then they revealed their true selves later on. One was a 14-year-old girl, and this guy was 28 years old. And right now, this guy runs his auditing business or some bullshit. And it's just so sad. So sad what these people are able to get away with, you know? And remember when I said workers, there are also female workers who travel from house to house who also preach. So what's interesting about this cult is they let women preach. However, if a man is anywhere in the vicinity, a man worker, his authority supersedes hers, which means he runs the show if he shows up, should show up at a meeting that she has, you know, convened, I guess. So she could have a sermon, she could have a sermon ready to go, she could be had the whole day planned, and this guy, and then this man worker comes in, and everything, if he decided, everything she had planned gets shut down. Isn't that wild?
Yeah. No, that is wild, but this seems to be the way that they have worked things out, where these workers would be older than the person that they have got with them, so they're seen as like the elder, the one in charge.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's sorry.
No, I was going to say, once they show up at a person's house, they are supreme. They could literally decide how the home operates. If they, I mean, literally, they can make decisions affecting the family that they're staying with. It's like having royalty in your house, and the whole, whatever you had going, it stops, and whatever this person says goes. And the sick part about it is these workers could decide, hey, I want to sleep with the children. And there's nothing the parents would do about it. As a matter of fact, they would say, oh, sure, yeah, that's fine. And they let them sleep with their children. And that's how this 28-year-old got with this 14-year-old. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, this guy was just sick. Very,
But
according to the victim, he was very manipulative. He was very slick, disarming, very charming, and he could just about get away with anything.
but isn't that most of what these cults are, is having these power hungry, disgusting, vile individuals that like sort of having weaker people that are too under the thumb to actually speak out against the wrongs of what they're doing.
Right. Well, think of the kind of people that are attracted to a religion like this. I mean, you're talking about people who are the poorest of the poor, downtrodden. They are willing to give up authority to someone else. It's like they need a strong man in their life, and it's quite disturbing and sick.
It is disturbing and sick, and it has, devastating consequences.
One of the things I want to know is how they decide how a worker is elected to that office. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think of it like these men go into this like private hall, and they all like have like a little sort of conference together, deciding who's going to be doing what, who's going to be deciding what, and I don't see them letting like any women or like, as they see, weaker members of their congregation in to help. I think they select like the strongest ones that they think can pull off the sickest stuff.
Yeah, I don't know that hasn't been revealed yet, and now but the FBI is now investigating all
Good.
claims that are being brought forward. So they're in right now. The FBI under Donald Trump, imagine that, they are still they are still encouraging these victims to come forward, even though 30, 40, 50 years has gone by, even though the statute of limitations have gone out, depending on what state you're in. Go ahead.
So let me get this straight. They're having a rapist look into other rapists.
Well, I mean,
Wrong.
yeah, technically, Donald Trump is not running the FBI, but morons definitely are. It's like foxes running the hen house. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
But
not exactly like that.
but
It's
and
like,
we're going to talk about this later in another video, but over 200 children were rescued from a trafficking operation down in Texas.
oh,
And the usual suspects, the ones who were running it, are exactly who you think they might be.
Republicans,
Trump supporters.
Trump supporters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to dive into
I
that.
don't.
And
mean,
it rarely made the news. It didn't even make a splash.
Yeah.
Because we got so much. Everyone's focused on the Epstein files. Ooh, when are they going to get released? They're not getting released, but that's besides the point.
I just want to make a clarification. I know a few times I keep lumping in all Republicans with Trump supporters, and for that I am sorry, but it seems the majority of
I must interject.
Republicans are Trump supporters.
Yeah, they're one of the same. If you're still voting Republican, you're MAGA at this point.
Yeah.
All of the good people have already left. So there is no good there are no more good Germans in this scenario. All of the good people have already left the Nazi party, but that's besides the point. I still want to know.
Anyway, tell me more about this cult.
Yeah, well, there's very little to tell for now, but that's basically all I have. Now, I still want to know how they elect their workers, their traveling itinerant preachers. I still want to know how that goes. So I guarantee you this is going to be an ongoing investigation. So keep our ears to the ground. Now, the preachers that do the preachers will always preach on being law abiding, but with a not so subtle hint that they are above the law. Fundamentalist Christians have always had this belief that our interpretation of what God's law is supersedes any law of any country or of any land. Now, like I said, the workers are almost regarded as godlike. It's like literally they are God's messengers is the belief. But you know what? It reminds me. They remind me so much of the Catholic Church and the independent fundamental Baptist churches that I come from, and the way they handle sexual assault. Yeah, you know, the very same people that preach against Catholicism, they preach against Catholics and how terrible and blah 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 blah. You know what? The very thing that I never heard from the pulpit, very rarely, was the sexual assaults on children. That rarely got brought up. It was always, they always attacked the Catholic Church from a ideology standpoint. They're wrong. They're going to hell because they don't believe the way we believe. But they never talked about the sexual assault. Why is that?
I don't know, but as an ex-Catholic, which level of hell are they on about that we're going to? I'm quite curious.
Well, because the Catholic Church is more work salvation. They worship idols. They don't preach the correct gospel. Blah blah blah. Have I ever told you about Jack Hyles, former pastor of the First Baptist Church, who appointed another creep before he died?
Yes, you did, but can you please sort of go into more detail for people that are just joining us, for our new subscribers, our old subscribers? So, refresh our memories.
Jack Hyles was the pastor of the largest independent fundamental Baptist church in America and probably the world. So in the late 80s, I would say 1989, in the 80s and 90s, he had moved one of his secretaries and her husband into one of the parsonage homes on the property. This was a huge property that had multiple homes. One was Jack Hyles, and then you had a home for the secretary, and then you had other homes for traveling preachers that would come through. They would always have a place to stay. Now, he set his secretary up in this house. And it was within walking distance. Go ahead.
He invited his secretary.
So one of his daughters did a TED Talk on this. And yes, she has revealed...
She done a TED Talk on his secretary.
Yeah. So it was within walking distance. He could walk from his house to the house of the secretary, and he would tell the husband to go down to the basement to pray for whatever, and then he would have an affair with the man's wife. Allegedly. That is how much power this man had. I mean, this guy, I remember going to this church as a child. We would go once a year. They had teen conference or teen convention, one or the other, and they had pastor's school. So you could go. So I was actually going twice a year because a member of the church I went to paid my way, and I was grateful at the time because our family had no money, and I went there without fail every year. It was like, woo, revival. Anyway, this was the biggest church, independent fundamental Baptist church, probably in the world at the time. Now, going back to Jack Hyles, he would send this wife's husband to the basement to pray for whatever was on Jack Hyles' mind. Eventually, he made a small bed. He added on to the house to where there was a small bedroom compartment on the roof. So he would send him.
Please tell me he didn't go in there filming it.
No. He would send the husband up there to live. So what was interesting was he structured their schedules to where they would never be in the house at the same time. So when the wife was at home, he was off doing whatever the pastor told him to be doing. And who knows what the wife got into and him. But yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. But
that's all I gotta say, yikes.
But this is how powerful this guy was. His advice was taken as gospel. Pastors would come to him for advice, and it was like, you're not just getting advice, you're getting the word of God and what you should do.
And a few STDs to go with it.
Well,
sorry.
I guess we're all sexual in a way, but when you look at this man,
yeah,
when you look at his picture, it's like, how in the name of fuck did he get it on? It's like, who got it on with this guy? He is like,
I don't want to think.
I'm going to play a video. So apparently Maury Povich, who did a show called The Current Affair, literally did an episode on Jack Hyles.
Did he?
I saw it maybe late last year. That's when I first came across it. I could not believe it. I'm like, we were never made aware of this because we were not allowed to watch television. Television was evil, of the devil, rotten. Can you imagine if we had public television and we were able to get a hold of this and see this for ourselves? I wonder if our minds would have changed just a little bit. I'm going to mute and I'm going to play this video. You tell me what you think. Now, you probably won't be able to see it, but try to make sense of it. And I'll add commentary as we go.
Okay.
The church deacon says his pastor stole his wife.
He lusted after her.
He says the pastor controlled his life for years, forcing him to sleep in his basement. The pastor denies it. He has harsh words for the retired deacon.
A fellow who would allow an outsider to send him to the basement would be a wimp.
Thy deacon.
So that was Jack Hyles saying, basically, this is his denial. Any man who would allow himself to be sent to a basement is a wimp. That is what he had to say for himself. But let's continue. Now that you've heard his voice, you should be able to recognize him.
Deacon's wife. Hello, everyone. I'm Maury Povich. Welcome to A Current Affair. The First Baptist Church in Hammond, Indiana, is a multi-million-dollar operation. The Hammond, Indiana Church boasts of having the largest congregation in the country. One thing they're not proud of, however, is the battle between their pastor and one of the parishioners. Our John Johnston tells us the pastor is accused of having an affair with the church member's wife and keeping the same man locked away in the basement, praying for an end to all the sins he saw around him.
The man who used to live here says his American dream turned into a 12-year nightmare.
By the way, that house, it looks beautiful. I can see why anybody who has lived dirt poor their entire life, who has lived poorly, who has not had a lot, I can see why this would be attractive. Did you have anything to add?
Yeah, it may be attractive, but I'm not sure it's worth the mental torture of going through whatever went on in that house just to live there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think I would have walked away happily. I think I would have happily skipped my ass out to there.
Let's hear some more.
Victor Nishik, a one-time faithful follower of the First Baptist Church in Indiana, claims his pastor banished him to the basement so the pastor could make whoopee with his wife.
He drew close to me to keep an eye on me and to work on me to accept this arrangement.
I'm sorry. This man is the absolute dweeb. This guy is a pushover. I mean, there's not much to him. I mean, I can see how somebody like Jack Hyles could kind of push him around.
Yeah.
And even when common sense is telling him, hey, this is not right. If you are convinced that the leader of the church that you attend is God's shepherd and overseer over the church, you're not going to be thinking rationally. You're already
Nope.
You've already shut your critical thinking skills off. This is why cults are so pernicious. I mean, we could talk about Waco, Texas, but that's another subject.
He worked, he lusted after her, mind, body, or soul, or whatever, before he drew close to me.
A fellow who would allow an outsider to send him to the basement would be a wimp.
Pastor Jack Hyles not only calls Victor Nishik a wimp, but a womanizer.
I never one time made any suggestion concerning.
Isn't that interesting? He had a. I'm sorry. Nobody like this man that they just showed. There is no sex appeal whatsoever. None. There is no way this guy could have been a womanizer being as busy as he was for the church. There's no way. He couldn't possibly. He couldn't possibly have time. Jack Hyles kept him so busy, he couldn't even see his own family. That's the way it is.
Doesn't it sound like what most sort of religious people do is like the poor me persecution and sort of deflection, where they're doing something but then blaming someone else for doing it instead?
Yeah, it is definitely. This is a perfect case of deflection. It's called deflection, and then you accuse the other person of what you yourself are doing. It gets spicier.
Yes.
Wait until you hear the rest of it.
I can't wait. I love spicy.
His living conditions, all of that was because his wife was going to divorce him because he'd asked his secretary to run off with him. On another occasion, his wife found him in a bedroom around midnight with a beautiful girl in his bedroom, and Mr. Nishik had his pajamas on.
It's a fabrication. There's no truth to it.
Of course there's no truth to it. This guy, there's no way this guy could be with anybody. I mean, to be fully truthful, this guy could be, I mean, he kind of has that look, you know what I mean? Like he could have diddled a kid or two, but there's no way this wide-eyed goofy fuck could have made it with any woman. I'm sorry.
I have not seen a picture of him, so I'm gonna reserve my judgment.
Yeah, you will. Don't worry. I mean, I'm just looking at him and I just feel sorry for him. This guy is pathetic.
I do. He's not going to be out womanizing. If his pastor is giving him a job to do, he sounds like the type of guy that has gone out and done what he's supposed to be doing, not going after women.
He is a doer.
Pastor. Yeah. Unlike the pastor
I used to be like him.
Is womanizing.
I used to be like him. There is no fucking way. I remember teaching Sunday school. I was in bus ministry. I was, soul winning, inviting people out to church. I was in church 3 days a week. There is three times a week. There is no way this guy had time to even think. This is another thing. Cults keep you so busy you can't even think or rationalize or even you can't even put two thoughts together. They keep you so busy that you don't even have time to yourself, and that's the whole point. They break you down. They keep you so busy to where you don't even think, wait a minute, what I am involved in, is it right? Am I doing the right thing? You don't even think about it. You just go through the motions. And it's basically fake it. Yeah. Fake it until you make it. Let's watch some more. Here we go.
Okay.
If I had somebody to run off, I would have run off with that somebody. I would have been glad. There would have been a way to escape.
After 12 years of being banished to the basement, Victor Nishik went to the Reverend Jack Hiles and told him, "I can't take it anymore." He says Hiles was good enough to build him his own separate bedroom there up over the garage, but still kept him apart from his family.
12 years. This went on for 12 years. This guy.
Nah. I couldn't, no.
I mean,
there's no way I could have put up with that for 12 years. I understand he's just doing what the
this guy is a dream.
I mean,
if you were going to start a cult, this is exactly the kind of person you want. This is the kind of person you would want in your corner doing the work. He was the perfect stooge. And Jack Hiles took advantage. He took you gave him an inch and he took 10 miles out of it.
Nishik claims Hiles not only controlled his wife, but every aspect of their lives.
It was down to the minute and the hour when I would come and go and when she would come and go. And it all worked into our responsibilities at the church so that people would not question why these two were never together.
Mrs. Nishik is a member of my staff and has been for over 25 years, a faithful, loyal member of our staff. I am her pastor, her employer, and her friend. And that's all.
Nothing more.
Nothing more. There or has there been? Mrs. Nishik is one of the most proper women you'll ever meet in your life.
Go ahead.
It is obvious that he is not following the Bible correctly. Laying with other people's partners. That's adultery in the Bible.
Well, I mean, yes.
This pastor is contradicting the very thing he is saying that he is following.
The heart wants what the heart wants, but you know something?
I understand that.
I mean, they always bring up the men of the Bible who failed miserably but came out strong in the end. There's always a way out for them. This is the crazy part. The more terrible, the more horrible the testimony, the more glory God gets. Look at what God help me overcome. Look at what God got me through. To God be the glory. I mean, I'm telling you, this is why Christians will either have a terrible testimony or they will invent one. Because the more horrible their former life is, the more glory God gets, but they kind of get a little recognition for themselves. But he was, I mean, there is something wrong. I don't know if there was something in the water there, but his son was involved in some pretty nasty stuff. The man he put in charge of his church as he was headed into operation for his heart. He put it, the very person he put in charge of his church before he died ended up molesting a child.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And several people of his staff knew it and covered up for him.
That's just as bad as doing the evilness themselves, covering up.
Yeah. And when it all came to light, it was like, you know, he played the victim card. He was like, oh, this is, he tried comparing himself to the Apostle Paul and how he went to prison for it because he had staff members ship this underage girl across state lines into a state. What's amazing in Indiana, where this happened, he could have gotten away with it. But the pastor had a house, a cottage where he could get away from it all and be alone by himself and be in prayer and just get alone with God. He actually transferred this young girl to that cottage, which was out of state. And they had more stricter laws for age of consent, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I could, the more you, I don't get it. The more you read into it, it's like, how in the name of fuck, you are a CEO of a independent fundamental Baptist church. You are a CEO. How could you be that stupid and not think?
I'm glad he was that stupid.
Well,
I'm glad he was that stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I am too.
I know.
3 more minutes of this. God.
We will get through it.
And it's tragic for an innocent woman to be scandalized by a womanizer.
Jeannie Nishik would not meet with us, but did sign these letters for Pastor Hiles, supporting what he said.
My accusation is of tampering with my home, from stealing my wife's affection.
You notice how we never hear from the wife, ever? It's always...
What does she say on it?
Yeah. She won't meet with the press. She won't meet with anybody, but only through Dr. Hiles. I'm telling you, that is telling. Yeah. And this monster made himself the ultimate victim, and we bought it. Somebody did. Some of the adults were alive when I grew up in 1989. I would have been 3.5, maybe 4. Okay. There were adults in my life that should have known this was going on, and we dismissed it. It was like, oh, it's the attacks of the devil. The devil is using this to break up his church. We need to push past against it. We need to ignore this, and we need to keep going, because look at how many people he's bringing to Christ. Look at all those kids on the buses coming in to Sunday school. Look at all the missionaries. What would happen if this church fell apart?
The only person destroying his church is himself with his vile actions.
Yeah. I'm just like, where were the adults? Not every adult adhered to the rule of no television. Somebody had to have seen something, heard something, and gone, I don't know. This just doesn't seem right. But this went down the memory hole. I grew up in the independent fundamental Baptist church all through the 90s into the early 2000s, and I went to that church year after year after year, even after Dr. Hiles died in 2001. It was before September 11th, because he died, and then September 11th the attacks happened, and that kind of, then his death went down the memory hole. But I'm like, and then the new pastor took over, and then he was pastor for 15, 16 years before this came to light. It's like, my God, the signs were all there. It's like even his son, David Hiles, is fucked up. Let's continue. Oh, did you have something else?
I was just going to say, I hope the new pastor was better than Hiles. No?
Nope.
I'm sorry.
I am hearing some
sorry.
pretty wild shit about the new pastor, who seemed more educated, who seemed more, but he's just as fundamentalist. He's just nicer about it. He comes across as nicer, I'm starting to hear disturbing things out of this guy. And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, they can't get a normal person to hem the ship of that church. It's like, God damn, they can't catch a break, can they? Moving on.
And
I am so
total,
sorry.
complete mind control. and I was controlling our lives to the nth degree. This was the extent of my accusation. But I will not go insofar as sexual because I never caught him in bed together.
Despite saying that, Nishik claims Hiles offered to swap wives.
He said, if you want her for the same relationship I had with Jenny, you have my permission. And I told him that he had, he was a sick person.
I could not tell you
Are you
how I felt.
freaking kidding me?
This guy.
Did he literally just say that he give his priest permission to rape his wife?
No. To engage in wife swapping. That means
Ew.
his wife.
Is she consenting though?
I don't know. See, this is the thing. We don't know much about Beverly Hiles.
No, exactly. We need to hear from her. Like, was this consenting? Did she consent to this? Because his consent doesn't mean nothing without hers.
I have seen those two together. They stuck together to the bitter end. She had to have known something. There is no way in the name of fuck that she didn't know what he was up to. She had to have. And Cindy Hiles, the black sheep of the family, who I think her name is Cindy. Maybe I said the wrong name. One of the daughters, who escaped, has done multiple interviews and multiple podcasts and shows, and she's put her life story out there. I'm sorry, Beverly Hiles must have known and must have been into the same kink. I don't.
Okay, so
I don't know that for a fact, but
no. All right, let's just say, for argument's sake, that it was all consenting between all four of them. I mean,
it's still messed
up.
Given the ideology,
it is messed up.
Yeah,
it is. So why are they now attacking each other over it?
Because they can. It's called plausible deniability. It's called If Dr. Hiles, or I'm sorry, I should not even call him doctor. He's not a real doctor. He got his doctorate from a independent fundamentalist Baptist. What do you call that?
You could always just call him Dr. Goofy.
No,
Dr. Quack.
Yeah, Quack.
Quack doctor.
Yeah, but see, had Hiles, had he a diploma mill? Sorry, that's the word I was looking for.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Had he admitted to that, his church would have split right then and there. Boom. I guarantee you he would have lost 80%. The church, you know what? He would have lost so many people. The tithers would have fled. I mean, there would have been nothing left. He had to go. I mean, he had to go to his grave with this. There's just no way of coming clean. Let's continue.
Okay.
When he dared to say that my wife would even consider such a thing. My wife is a clean, moral lady in the strictest sense of the word. And Mr. Nischik was just telling a bold-faced prevarication and lie when he said that.
Hiles has been pastor at the First Baptist Church for almost 30 years. He claims to have a congregation nationwide of more than 65,000. The church itself looks like a corporation, fully equipped with a department store-sized parking lot. About 7,000 of Hiles' followers pack his church here in Hammond, Indiana, faithfully every Sunday. Victor Nischik calls the congregation a cult. It's another allegation that Hiles flatly denies.
Many of us see symptoms of a Jimmy Jones situation being repeated. And I'm not kidding you.
Realistically.
Realistically. He has stated publicly, if he called and said, staff, drive up on the Skyway Bridge and jump into the river, they would all do it.
I've given my life here for 30 years. They love me.
I don't think that's an exaggeration. I think he's telling the truth. There are a lot of, I have seen people flip on their beliefs like you wouldn't believe. When Jack Scopp, who took over from Jack Hiles, he had some weird beliefs that even they were too much for me. Even as a fundamentalist Christian, I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. And I would question people who went to that college and church, and I'm like, they're like, well, and then they'd try to explain it, and I'm like, this just doesn't sound right to me. I don't know.
Even if they had a wife swap going on, as long as it's consenting and, between grown adults, not my business, they can do what they want. What I have a problem with is them trying to shift the blame and lie about it.
Yeah, exactly. Lie about it and then talk about dirty Hollywood and how evil they are and how they're always swapping wives and how they're always jumping in and out of bed. It's like, you know what? It's like you claim to have morality and you're no better off. You live no better than these guys. You look great on the outside. How are we doing? Let's peek. Let's peek through the curtains there. Ooh. But he's not lying. If Dr. Jack Hyles had commanded certain things, it would have been done without question. Without question. Yeah. Now, I don't think they would have gone as far as suicide. However,
I don't know. Some of these cult leaders do real damage and harm.
Oh, they do.
People that are following them.
They do. I don't think it would have gotten that far because Jesus would have never condoned that. You know what I mean? Had it been more of a Jim Jones style religion, yes, but it wasn't that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to many of his sermons and nothing like that wouldn't have gotten that far. And he knew how far he could push things. See, that's the thing. He was smart enough to realize how far he could go before he had to pull it back. Even some of his sermons were a little wild, but neither here nor there. Here we go.
I love them, but I'm not God. And this is not a cult, and I'm not a cult leader. I'm a pastor of a New Testament Baptist church that loves his people and wants to help them.
But Nishik is convinced he was brainwashed into being a believer for 14 years. Do you look back on this now and feel foolish at all?
No, I don't feel like a fool at all. In fact, I feel very strongly that I did the right thing. Because leaving, and this I believe very strongly now, is leaving would have tossed my children into a meat grinder.
There are some who would probably watch this story and say, how could you allow this to go on for so long?
I was totally committed to the ministry. I would not dare compromise it. I have men in this church now that tell me that they would willingly give up their wives for this ministry if it meant, to propagate and to make it more successful.
Yeah, that is not an exaggeration. I think he's telling the truth in that regard. If they thought it was the will of God to give up their wives, give up their families, well, I mean, it's in there in the Bible. If you're not willing to hate father, mother, family, wife, son or daughter, brother, sister, if you're not willing to put them away and leave them, you're not worthy of me. It's baked into the ideology right there. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't they give up their wives to this man if they felt it was furthering the ministry?
Well, yes.
I mean,
they would. And as long as it was consenting between adults. Yeah.
But it's just, I just don't think they get a free pass. I don't care if it's consenting or not. If you are out there, you've built an ideology about purity, about pious living, and you go and do this.
They should be living it. It's highly hypocritical from judging others.
I don't expect them to live it because to live it is damaging in and of itself.
You know what I mean? It's highly hypocritical to be judging people doing something that they're doing themselves, but then denying that they're not doing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. But it's just,
Yes.
it's exhausting with these, never ending. Here we go.
I felt I was doing God a favor.
I've had one woman in my life, John. One woman in my life. That's the mother of my children. And after 62 years of working for integrity and character, to have a shadow cast over it, it hurts just like it hurts you.
We can add one fact in this story. Victor Nishik and his wife Jeannie are now divorced. They live separately.
Well, who could have seen that coming? I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah, unbelievable. Oh, I get it. And yes, it is very understandable. I mean, that's not what he signed up for, and that's what they got. So yeah, now you've got exposed to two cults. One near and dear to my heart, and one that I just found out about. So there you have it.
I am.
So what did you learn today?
Sorry that well, I learned some quite interesting things and some things I didn't think I'd want to learn. But yeah, I think cults are morbidly fascinating, but do have a fundamental detrimentive effect on people not only living in the cults, but for the people that are living in the communities around as well. Just the widespread damage that it can cause.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, I can dunk on this poor man, and I can belittle him. I don't know that I would have done any better had I been in his position. I don't know. Because
he was just doing what he thought was right at the time, even though it probably wasn't. He was just doing what his pastor told him to do.
Yeah, and when you think about it,
he was on survival mode.
Right. And so had I been in his position, I would have been very pliable. I don't know that I would have gone as far. I really don't know. I've never been in that position. And it scares me to think of the decision making or the decisions I would have made had I been in that position. It often worries me how far I would have taken things had I stayed. I don't know. We like to pride ourselves. Oh, well, I would have never done that. That's just ridiculous. It's like, if you're in the ideology, man, and you believe in what you're doing, and you believe that what you're doing is of God, when you have enough faith, you can bring yourself to believe absolute absurdities. All you need is that F word, faith. Yeah. And you can believe anything with just enough of it.
Yeah. And this is why that we should try not to judge too much unless we've walked a mile in someone's shoes, because...
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, yeah. I still think we need to call this out as harshly. I mean, even if it means calling ourselves out. I mean, I'm not saying being hypocritical or anything, but this ideology is poisonous and it is dangerous. And if it takes me insulting someone, even to the point of insulting myself, so be it. So be it.
I completely agree with you. I'm just trying to understand a little of what he went through. I'm just trying to put myself in that position, if that makes sense.
Sure. Absolutely. And, well, with that, we want to thank you so much for watching the Biblical History Skeptics. Please see our links in the description. If you'd like to support us, we'd more than love your support. You could support us on Venmo, Cash App, or become a Patreon. We thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all later. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.
Oh, like, comment, and subscribe.